I'm not sure for a live, so I'm just gonna. Uh, if you can hear me, please say yes. I haven't done this in, in over a year, so I'm a little rusty. I was having a lot of like technical difficulties getting started. I don't know how to do the uh, computer audio on OBS, so eh, had a lot of difficulty getting started. But let me know if you can hear me, and we'll get started. You know what? I think I'm just gonna check on my phone and see how it's good on my phone. All right, someone said congrats. Looking forward to catching up with the Q&A. I am also looking forward to catching up with the Q&A. I've been away from YouTube for like 2 months. I haven't posted a video at all. But I'm on the Discord server. Like I go in there once or twice, and a few people reach out to me on social media. I'm pretty active on other social media. It's just like I have a lot of videos that I have scripted, but I don't have the like. I think it's missing something to like post them, so I haven't like posted them yet. I haven't even recorded them. So right now, the bottleneck I have is like I have a lot of ideas, and then I write the script, and then I don't really have like the time to film them and then edit them. And usually over the summer, when I was doing a few other videos, I would edit some videos, and it would take what 4 or 5 hours. But that's not even like it's not like a lot of time. But now that school has started, like I don't have a lot of time to like edit videos, but I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of it has been scripted. So if you have video ideas, just like put them in the chat and let me know. What is this? All right, 9 people on this stream. Say something in the chat. 11. Okay, okay, we're climbing. We're climbing. I wasn't even expecting a whole bunch of people to show up. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming along. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this live is I do get some questions on email and on Twitter and Instagram, and some of the questions like redundant, right? Is like a lot of people ask me some of the same questions, and I have to send pretty much the same answers. And so I thought, why not do like a live session where I get to like interact and then get to know a whole bunch of people, and then also, answer some of the redundant questions that I do get. And so that's why we're doing this live. You're doing great. Thank you. Don't know if the live chat is broken. Certainly not broken. So I guess I'll just like start off like going to I just like this is the channel. I've been meaning to do like the um, subscriber live, like the Q&A for a really long time now. Like when we hit 5K, I was like, okay, when we hit 1K, I was like, I was gonna do it. And then we hit 5K, I was like, I'm also gonna do it. And then we hit 10K, didn't do it. 20K, 25K, and then after 25K, we started climbing to like 26, and like, should I wait until like 30K? And then I realized that instead of just waiting, the channel, the number of subscribers is just constantly gonna keep climbing. Oh, Java Mastery said yes. Thank you. I know that you are there. So instead of waiting, I know like the channel number is gonna keep climbing, and so I just decided to like do it once and for all. And on my channel, the video that's bringing on a whole lot of subscribers is this a real day in the life. It's like over 2.2 million views right now. Like when I posted this video, I never really expected it to get over 1,000 views, and then people just started watching it, and they really loved it. And it's been getting a whole lot of support. And so, the majority of the new subscribers are like people who come from watching this video. And it's only been 10 months. I'm curious to see how it's going to be like in a year if we're gonna cross like 2.5 million. Yeah, I'm looking forward to something like that. Oh, Java mastery. If you are like a software engineer, that's how you found me. It's like, thank you. It's like a lot of people found me from that video. I'm wondering if anyone used to watch all of my algorithms videos that I used to post way back in the day. I started this channel in 2020. I was posting lead code videos. I used to suck at lit code. Like I sucked so much at lit code, and I was failing quite a few coding interviews. And so I was like, well, how about the main thing why I was failing the interviews, like my technical communication was not as strong. And that was right around the time when platforms like Pram started coming up and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe I would film myself solving lit code questions and then upload it to YouTube just to have some accountability. And at the time, I was doing like 3 videos per week, and barely anyone watched it when I started. I would get like maybe 5, 10 people watching it, and then it started growing to like this. I had a phase where it was like maybe 40 views per video, and I thought like that's amazing. Like more than 10 people are watching it, like 40 people are watching it. That's super amazing. And the community was like really tight knit that when I post a video, a lot of people would like ask rebuttals and like ask questions, and then those are the things that would like come up in their interview. So over time, for like a couple months, I started getting really better at doing leak code questions, and then I started posting like more videos. I think I even have like videos that I unlisted, 1 or 2 videos that I unlisted because I didn't communicate them well, and it grew over time. Started getting a few hundred views. Started going to like 200 views, 400 views, and then I started doing some competitive programming. I did the Google Kickstart one time, and when I uploaded that video, I think it got like 200 views in a single day. I was like, holy shit. I think this is the video, the Google Kickstart video. And that was the time I really started seeing like the power of like doing things that are trendy. And over time, I did a little bit of like live streaming, and then the channel was at a good place. Like we had around 600 subscribers before I posted the day in the life video, and immediately I did that. Like it just blew up. Also, there was a time I was doing a lot of like live streaming. Uh, if you're watching this right now, you're like, I suck at live streaming, and I do, but a year or two ago, I was really good at it. I was doing like study with me videos. Those were really popular. Uh, YouTubers like Ali Abdal were doing them. Those were really popular. I would watch like uh, Ali Abdal study with me videos for like hours and hours, just like to like study. And then one time, I did like a 6 hour live stream of studying cracking the coding interview. I think I had an interview right after that video. So like I was using that to like study for the interview. So in a way, YouTube was kind of like my little accountability accountability platform, and I used it to not only like study and get better with technical communication, but I used it to be accountable to myself, and it worked really well. And so like if you're someone who's looking to get better at like coding interviews or get better at whatever it is, just like film yourself doing it and start uploading it to YouTube. That would really help. Let's see. Another time I did a live chatting and playing multiplayer board games. That was a good one. That was a good one. 2.1k, 2.1k views was not bad at all. Hmm. I'm gonna check on Instagram and see if I have a few questions on Instagram. Someone on Instagram asked, "What is my favorite video?" That's a really great question. I'm not sure what my favorite video is, but there are quite a few contenders. I would say I liked the contact tracing video. The very first one, not even this one. I liked this one, this contact tracing video, and in no particular order, that one, and also um, the one about rate my NFT, something that I was working on over the summer. Um, can't even find it. Yeah, this one. I like this one too. And it's crazy to see that those ones are not even the best performing videos. The one about building the anonymous contact tracing app, the reason why I liked it is it was concise. I don't know, maybe like 6 minutes, around 5 minutes, 50 seconds, and it really told the story in such a way that it left sort of like a cliffhanger for like what would happen after, and that cliffhanger was not filled until a year later when I finally posted that we won the challenge. And the pattern of my thoughts for that video was actually from John Fish. Um, it was from John. There's this YouTuber called John Fish, and then he did this video about a ventilator that he built. Yeah, this was my inspiration for that video. I pretty much just used the same pattern. It was right around the time. It was quite fun actually. So that's that. That's one of my favorite videos. Another one of my favorite videos is the 1,000 users in 1 month. This video went through so many iterations of the title. Initially, it was like how we got 1,000 users in 1 month, and then it went down to like 1 week. But then I realized that like we got the 1,000 users like not because of how we built it in 1 week, but the amount of um the amount of like outreach we were doing on Discord and on Twitter. And so I changed the title to like we built a startup with over 1,000 users during spring break. And so far this year, this has been the project that I have worked so hard on. I think this is the project that I've worked the hardest on, and it was just really fun to like communicate my building process, like how we were able to build the app and how we were able to get 1,000 users in 1 month. And if I look at my uh, GitHub, you'll see like between March and April, this was the time it was churning out a whole bunch of code for that project. And then I sort of went on a hiatus before starting to code back in July. Uh, Another video I kind of like is this app got me a software engineering job over Twitch. I still don't know what the theme of my channel is, and it started with like algorithms, and then it went to like day in the lives, and then started going to like projects. But what I really enjoy, like on all the videos that I make, the ones that I really enjoy is the ones that I talk about projects and then talk about building projects, because that's what I love building, like doing a lot of side projects. And then the second category would be the algorithms one. I really love the algorithms videos because I get to like explain and talk about stuff. And then from there, I like the day in the lives and like the vlog style videos, but those are super hard to film. And like those are the ones that bring in a whole lot of the subscribers, honestly. Like this real day in the life. Like I have two day in the life videos, 7 months apart, and then those have over 100K views. And those are actually the videos that bring in a whole bunch of subscribers. But like those take a whole lot of time to make, and then it doesn't really like fit the theme of the audience that I want to build. Like I want to build an audience of engineers and like students, people who work in side projects, people who are looking for like inspiration on like the type of projects to build, or algorithmic optimization, just people who are like fairly technical. And so doing the day in the life videos, it opens up a whole uh, a bigger audience of like not only software engineers or like people who are into coding and tech, but like just people who are into like those career videos. And like it's sort of kind of gets into the realm of like productivity. And most of the comments in that video is like, oh, you work X hours a day, like how did you do this, how did you do that. And it kind of got into like the career style videos. And I don't think I am qualified to really talk about career, you know, and like in the early stage of my career right now. So like when I get a whole lot of these questions about how we able to do this, how we able to do that, I feel like I would be more impactful if I talk about tech and then talking about like career projections and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it's it. article on here right now. Hmm. I did not do this. The graphics, by the way, the B-roll. I paid someone off of Fiverr to do the B-roll, and they did an amazing job at it. Every day, every day in the live video has this, like, where you pretend to wake up after you've woken up for like an hour, and then you go back and then pretend to wake up. Hmm. I think for this scene, there was like no camera here. I used two cameras to film, and I set up like one camera here, and then set up the other camera on the side, and then it was like super hard to like get the whole scene to flow. This was like my first cinematic video that I ever made. It was like just fun to put it together. Ricardo. Ricardo says, let's see. I really loved your desk setup. Thank you. I have the same desk setup. Ricardo says, hello, thanks. Share a little bit about your day in that video. I'm starting a programming career. Yeah, really enjoyed the video. Thank you thank you for all the support. I never really expected this video to get a whole lot of the support that it's getting. Um, oh yeah, these water sounds, I cringe every time I hear them. I cringe every time I hear them. Like if you look through the comments, there's like tens and tens of people saying, "Holy shit, the water sound is not it." Hmm. At the time, I had a lot of stability with my morning routine since um, I was working at a fan company out of Seattle. Like, if you know, there's like maybe two or three options in that list. You kind of don't like want to like talk about the company so much. So like I was trying to like detach the company that I work for versus like my career. And so I was like just looking at it in the lens of like a software engineer rather than a software engineer who works at a fan company, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I never do this. This was just for the video. I never really do this. The whole time I lived in that place, I think I only went on the balcony less than 10 times. Yeah, this was just for the video. just skip this. Working in software related roles. This was me, like, speaking to my employer that if you see this video, don't fire me. You're like, I'm not gonna show the work that I do for you. Like, this is like me speaking directly to to my employer at the time. I had been in the job for like close to a year. Not even close to a year, but over 6 months or so. But I've been in the job for a long time that I had a reputation of being like a top performer and stuff like that. So I had the confidence to do something like this, but I still had to put a kind of like a disclaimer on the video. And at the time, excuse me, at the time my channel was like so small that wouldn't even have mattered. For a few years now, I mostly did internships, part times, and side projects while I was in college. And right now, I'm working as a full time software engineer at a top tech company. Oh. I've been in this role for the past 7 months. And in this video, I'd like to take you through a typical weekend in my life. A huge disclaimer is yeah, this was like the most important part of the video. Like everything before this was just to make things flow. Disclaimer is that all of the footage that you see in this video, all of the screens, some of the code, were my personal work that I did probably like a year ago, or even more than that. Okay, after this, so all of the screens that I was working on, that's. I think this intro was like super long as well. It lasted for like maybe 2 minutes, which was bad for retention. Algorithms and instructions. My actual work laptop is behind the camera. Unfortunately, you're not going to be seeing that, so let's get started. Yeah, this is typically how the day starts. Before I filmed the intro, we actually had one meeting before that. So it usually starts with a daily stand up, which happens at like 8:30 a.m. And then from there, a few times in the month, you have these like retrospective meetings or like sprint planning meetings that happen. Let's say like after the daily stand up. Like the daily stand up, it's a no brainer. It happens like every day, almost every day. Like sometimes like a few teams like do their daily stand ups like 3 times a week. I think that was not the case for us. We did it almost every day. And then we had this team meeting. So when I was filming this, like this is uh not like a very accurate representation. It's like a representation, but like I should have called this like a daily stand up. But the reason why I didn't do it was like the time that I filmed this was like after the daily stand up. So this was like a sprint planning meeting. I should have called it a daily stand up, but it wasn't a daily stand up. There was someone in the chat. Someone in the chat says, "Hey Michael, I'm in ninth grade, planning to do CS and planning to do cybersecurity in the future. What are your tips for me, and what was the hardest part of it all?" Cybersecurity in the future, planning to do CS in ninth grade. So if you're in ninth grade, you have like 3 more years in high school. 12th grade, yeah. You have 3 more years in high school. I would say doing CS is probably one of the best career decisions you're gonna make. Like the part of CS that you're gonna focus on. I'm gonna talk about like a different. I'm gonna talk about a few of the routes that you could take. But doing computer science right now is like very much in demand. Like there's like thousands and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of unfilled software engineering roles. So doing computer science and like if you're starting at like ninth grade, that is amazing. You have a lot of time to, ramp up. Don't really take it as like, you have to study to do CS, but it's like developing developing the interest in the subject. For instance, doing like side projects, learning, I don't know, like HTML, or like learning JavaScript, building like little things, like things that you would naturally like use. Something like figure out like what's the problem that I face and like try to solve that problem. And so you could use that to improve your interest in computer science. I think computer science is one of the best degrees. Like, I have no regrets doing computer science. So, if you're thinking of going into CS and you're really passionate about it, even if you're not passionate about it, if it's like you're just like mildly passionate about it, then absolutely do it. You're gonna have like a stable career that pays really well. So that is my uh, that's my spiel for computer science. Although I'm like super biased, being a software engineer who studied computer science as well. But you're planning to do cybersecurity. I don't have a lot of expertise in that specific area, and I get why you're saying like cybersecurity. Like, when I was in high school, a lot of people like the term cybersecurity is like so, prestigious, like cybersecurity, um, blah blah blah. But I'm not dunking on cybersecurity. It's actually a great field. However, it's so misrepresented because a lot of the cybersecurity today is usually about analysis, like cyber analysis. For instance, people who would like look at the specific part of a system and just analyze like how secure that system is. And so the actual part of like the hardcore technical parts of cybersecurity would be people who would be like pen testers, maybe like black hat or like white hat hackers, and those are people who would be playing with like hacking systems and stuff like that. And it's only a small percentage of like the cybersecurity folks. Like the large percentage of the cybersecurity folks are just like theoretical people who do like cyber analysis. And so cybersecurity is, I think, it's a great field. I think people do get paid a whole lot. And so like, as always, like, I do encourage people to like balance interest with stability, and then just be real. Like, if I'm interested in something, like the intersection of what you're interested in and how stable it is, the intersection of that should be like what you would ideally want to pursue as a career. And so if you're planning to do cybersecurity, it's just like, go ahead. Your original plan was to become a pen tester. Pen tester. Let's see. Pen tester. Hmm. How to become a pen tester in 2022 career guide. I really don't know anyone who's a pen tester, honestly. With like cybersecurity, you have to have some networking knowledge. And at my previous job that I'm currently taking a break from, we have people who are really great with like networking, like some like amazing systems engineers who would like just open up the terminal and just start writing commands. Like, those people are awesome, and even those people would have to look up to the actual cyber folks, who would be just of a small percentage of like the computer science community. So if you ask me, I don't think like pen testers are a huge percentage of the computer science community. Like, it's largely software engineers, and then maybe systems engineers, and then from there you would have maybe product managers, and then maybe cybersecurity folks like pen testers would be like a very small, very small percentage. Let's move on. You did say What are your tips and what was the hardest part of it all? The hardest part of my computer science journey. Hmm. Hardest part of my computer science journey, I would say getting getting a prestigious internship and like a prestigious job and internship, and also getting good at algorithms and data structures. Like I'm not going to talk about like the emotional parts of like this stream is going to be very technical. The hardest part was like knowing a lot about data structures to like ace the interviews and then get some internships that people would some internships that would be considered great. For instance, if you're in sophomore year and then a lot of the people around you are getting like say internships at Google, internships at like Microsoft, internships at like Facebook, and then you kind of see it as like, oh, this is like easy to attain, right? Until you apply for those positions, you do get the interviews, and then but you don't get selected, and you have to grind late code, grind algorithms, grind data structures for months and end before super smart to like balance the two together and like excel in one of the two, but like one has to suffer, or one has to not be given as much time as the other. So I would say my biggest challenge was like balancing the time between spending time with like interviews, spending time with my coursework, and also spending time with personal projects. You know, that I would say was my biggest challenge. And one of your questions is also, is that the Keychron keyboard? Yeah, that's a Keychron keyboard. It's the Keychron K6. This is, I'm still using it right now. Amazing, good stuff. 65% keyboard. Um, I think it's the tactile keys. I don't know what kind of switches, but they're awesome. I'm done with high school, about to go to university. Awesome, awesome. Congratulations. You know some programming like Python. It's amazing. Java. Sweet. JavaScript. Awesome. And you're like just you're not even in college yet. That's amazing. Uh, JavaScript. You were thinking of not going to university to do CS because you know programming. So, what do you think is CS very important as a software developer? Very controversial question. Um, ooh, Short answer, yes. So, if you're done with high school, it means that you are young. I'm guessing you are maybe 18, 19. And if that is the case, getting a CS degree would be more beneficial to you than like not getting a CS degree. The people that reach out to me and say, "Oh, I don't want to get a CS degree. I want to go to like a boot camp or something." Like, if you're someone who did like a degree in another field, and then you want to come back and switch to computer science, but then you don't want to go through like a 4 year college, and that is fine. Oh, sweet, you're 15, you're done with high school, and you know a lot of this program. Like, dude, that's amazing. And so I would say if you're 15, you're gonna go to college. Like, you'll be out of college by like 19, 20, with like a stellar computer science degree. And that's going to give you a lot of the credibility to um, to get the jobs that you really like. I know these days people like you don't need a computer science degree to get a job, which is kind of true, but you do need something to show to get the interviews. You also do need, so take for instance like someone with a computer science degree who is as great as programming as you are and then you're also just as great as programming, but you don't have a computer science degree, and like you're super young, like who do you think the hiring manager is gonna select? If I was the hiring manager, like I would go with the one with the computer science degree because that's like the only edge I can have. It's like the computer science is not only about programming, but it teaches you like problem solving, like a lot of the theoretical fundamentals that you would need for programming. And one of my favorite classes in computer science was not actually my programming classes. It was like the classes that teach you the fundamentals of programming logic and design. Is like when you learn that, you could apply that to any programming language. So for like a lot of these programming languages have like similar fundamentals. So if you do something like principles of programming logic and design, like that is like a class, that would help you learn any other programming language that you would want. Like discrete math, yeah. Discrete math is amazing. Object oriented programming is amazing. All of those are like amazing fundamentals that you are not gonna easily come by outside of a computer science degree. Like you can be a great programmer, you could, you know the insides of like Java, insides of like React and all of those things, but like the fundamentals that a computer science degree offers is actually unvaluable. CS50 on Harvard CS50, so you guess that's not enough. I know about Harvard CS50. Actually, I do have the link to like the curriculum. CS50 is great, but it's like a 12 weeks course. This is Harvard CS50. Alright, let's see what they teach. Alright, they teach like basic data structures, they teach algorithms, they teach memory, they teach Python. Um, alright, so CS50, you see how it's divided. Like the first half of the course is teaching you first half of the course is teaching you fundamentals. Like it's teaching you basics of computer science, and then the second half is actually it's getting more practical. And so computer science, like getting a computer science degree, I would say is like 70-80% this, and maybe only 20% this. And so CS50 is like one course. What are some of the things you would need outside of this? They don't teach discrete math. They don't teach object oriented programming. Like, they don't have compilers. And so, I'm not sure if you're gonna learn a whole lot about data structures in a 1 week course. Like, you can learn enough to get you started to like teach you how to learn on your own. But in like a typical computer science education, this would be a whole course by itself. And then algorithms is also a whole different course by itself. Uh, so in terms of CS50 not being enough, I think CS50 is good for a foundation. You could also look at um, Harvard's web programming with Python and JavaScript. It's also another course that they offer. It's a little more on the like practical side as well. But again, the whole like computer science degree thing, I advise for like people who are young and have the time and you know the ambition, just go get it. It's gonna do a whole lot more for you than not getting it. If you are, say, switching, you might want to look at boot camps. That would probably be the best option for you. I don't advise people to go through a whole 4 year education if they could just switch with a boot camp. And then some people want to be self taught. That's also fine if you don't want to spend thousands of dollars. Are you in the US? I'm assuming you're in America? The American education's like super expensive too, so that's one thing you could take into account. what you get from the education, actually, it's not the knowledge that you get from it, it's the social status. um, as much as people would like to disagree with this, but like society still values a college education, so you would get the social status of it. The knowledge thing, like you can get the knowledge um, at any university, like online or like whatever, but like the social status and the credibility that you get with a college degree cannot be attained without a college degree. It's like super hard to get that credibility and like social status without a college degree, especially for someone who's your age. So yeah, that's a hard spiel. Go to college, please, please go to college. Don't drop out of college. Go to college, please. You're not in America. That's amazing. That's a plus. Well, it is a plus. Let's see. I'm curious. How did you learn a whole lot of these languages? Um, did you learn them by yourself? Did you do them via Harvard's CS50? And have you built projects with them? The live chat is like painstakingly slow. It takes away the synchronousness, if that's even a word, from the conversation. Chris mentioned discrete math. You learned Java with a tutor. Sweet, 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 sweet. Python self-taught. Awesome. You learned JavaScript self-taught. Yeah, it does actually make sense. Like um your progression of like how you learned Java with a tutor. Like if you know Java, learning Python would be easier because it's not as verbose as Java is. It's also not as like syntactically difficult to learn, and the same with from like switching from like Java to something like JavaScript would be easy to learn by yourself. So like you have the right foundations. You've built a lot of projects for Java. You know, Swing framework. Now you're now doing Android development. That's sweet. Android, uh, you using Kotlin or Java for Android development. I know like Android's like kind of maybe shifting away from Java a little bit. They introduced Kotlin right around the time when I was like leaving Android development. So I used to do a lot of Android development like high school with Java, and then they introduced Kotlin. They put native Kotlin support for Android in the Android Studio. You learn JavaScript because of front end technology. Yeah, that's sweet. Like I like how you're learning a whole lot of these different technologies. Like you're the near perfect example of like someone who has the time to explore and like know what to get into. You're using Java for. That's great. That's great. I think they're going to be supporting Java for quite a while. So you do have quite a lot of advantage because you have a lot of time to learn a whole lot of stuff and then know where you're eventually going to specialize down the line. Like you want to do front end, back end, you want to do full stack, you want to do compilers, whatever it is you do want to do. So, like, my only advice is just like keep building a whole lot of projects, just like enjoy it, enjoy the fun, build web projects, build Android projects, build iOS projects, build machine learning projects, you know, just expand your knowledge. You will eventually stumble upon something that you know floats your boat, and something that like scratches that itch, something that you're inherently passionate about. You would have to do, but for now, do a whole lot of projects. Well, I can't even remember all of the courses I took in college. Oh, um, so first year did the principles of programming, logic and design, did databases, um, did not do compilers. Uh, compilers like one of the harder ones, and then there was the infrastructure one that was like also hard. And then moving on, I did OOP. OOP was amazing. OOP was actually one of my favorite ones. Um, OOP is like object oriented programming. And then did databases again, and then did a little bit of like analysis and design. Did data structures. Um, Holy snap! It's only been it's only been like what 2.5 years? Yeah, it's not a really long time. For backend dev, should you use Java, Spring, or Python, or Django? It's like backend dev for web or backend dev for mobile. Um, so a lot of the backend systems now are maybe using Rust, Go. I'm seeing a lot of shift to Rust now. Rust is pretty popular in the backend community. Mm, I'm not sure about your question about Python Django for web. Okay, for web, it's gonna be dependent on your framework as well. And so if you're using like the your sorry your tech stack, if you're going with like the MongoDB, React Native, Node.js, like the Marn, MongoDB Express, React, and like Node.js, and like maybe going like a JavaScript kind of backend would be good with Node.js and Express. If you're doing like a different stack, like the Python and Django one, like that's totally fine. I haven't really quite used Java for backend development. It's only for like um, native AWS native AWS development that I was doing a whole lot. And so I know there's like the Spring Boot for Java. I didn't quite use that. Like sometimes when you so I'm going to tell you this. A lot of the open source technologies that are out there, when you're actually working at a company, you won't be using them because like the company would have their own proprietary frameworks, and you're going to be working with like legacy code that you would be using. So most of the open source tools, for instance, like React or something, like you might use them, but not a whole lot. And so if you're working for like maybe say Google, you would be using Go. If you're working for I don't know, Microsoft, you would be using C Sharp with the C Sharp .NET framework. So don't think too much about the type, like the kind of language that you learn. Just like be specific to like think of it as like a tool to accomplish a task rather than rather than a knowledge that I'm gonna hold on to for the rest of my life. Because like that knowledge is like is it's gonna switch depending on the environment that you work and like the company that you work for. So yeah, if you're going with Python Django, that's awesome. If you're going with React, Angular, MongoDB, then I would suggest Node.js. You feel like you don't have a tech stack. What's your response if someone asks you if you well you kind of do have a tech stack. You mentioned JavaScript, so if you know JavaScript, then you would know Node.js. Um, if you are doing Python Django, I'm not sure if Python Django is compatible with like Node.js. Like there would be some way you would like do some microservices. Um, the more famous tech stacks would be like the MERN stack, MongoDB Express, React Native, and Node.js. That's like the if I have a web project, that's the one I would be like immediately inclined to start with like Firebase as well. Firebase for like backend services and spinning up like authentication, spinning up database, spinning up storage. Firebase is super handy. So if someone asks you what your tech stack is, then you should ask them like tech stack for web, tech stack for mobile. If it's for web, then looks like you have a good grasp of the MERN stack. I don't know what the Python and Django stack would be called. I don't know if they have like an acronym for it. I'm not sure, but maybe they do. I don't know if they do. I'm trying to see rank some of the courses in a computer science education and see which ones are I would consider to be the most important ones. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, those are pretty good. Computer graphics, data structures and algorithms, like one of the most important in my opinion. Yeah, like computer science, you get to do all of these like object-oriented programming one, and then object-oriented programming two, object-oriented programming three. It's like just pretty much the same things, but with like a deeper, uh, understand a more deeper dive into the subject. So web development. Oh yeah, I remember taking this. How computers work. I think this was for us. This was like fundamentals of computer systems, all fundamentals of computer science. Maybe this was like jumbled up into one course for us. Computational mathematics, like discrete math, super amazing stuff. OOP, nice. Software design and development. This is awesome. This is amazing too. Like I think we had software design and development, and then we had object-oriented design, databases, network. Oh, I hated all the networking classes. Damn. Network security, network this, network that. I hated all those network classes. Computer security. Oh, it was fun. We had a good professor. His name was Sean. Agile software projects. This we did with object-oriented programming and design. I don't even remember. Interaction design. Uh, this human computer interaction, and all of these like artificial intelligence, and those are electives that you would have to take, NLP and whatnot. Like, yeah, these ones, this compulsory ones are. I don't see compilers here. I don't see compilers here. That's a pretty good list. A pretty good representation of what you will do. You also hate networking. Networking was not my favorite subject. It was okay. Like, I did not like it at all. Like, the networking classes always start, the security classes always start with like the first lecture would be talking about like properties of information, like confidentiality, like integrity, and like I don't even know what the other one is. But like they had this like CIA algorithm. Uh, Availability, yeah, that one. It's like the first slide would always be these three things in security classes. And then the networking classes would talk about TCP/IP protocols and like UDP and all those protocols that I have never really used physically. Like it's good to have a working knowledge of them. That like the underlying way, like presentation layer, uh, data layer, you know, data link, and all of those things is like as a software engineer, I kind of maybe work in the presentation and then the data layer. Like it's good to know those, but I've never really like I've never really like wired up stuff in a network. Maybe doing I take that back. Maybe doing it in the cloud. Like a lot of these things have been like simplified to like some like cloud computing where you would like spin up a load balancer, uh, on some virtual or some virtual machine in the cloud, and then you would do some like networking within those instances, have them have like similar IPs, and then route requests from like different instances and all of those things. Um, AWS uh, services and redundant Amazon Web Services. A lot of these things are like done virtually now. You're hardly gonna be wiring stuff. Elastic, yeah, VPC, like a virtual private cloud, so you could like maybe spin up like a cluster of computers, and like you just have to customize your network configuration. It's like pretty much there on the AWS console, and you know enter your IP addresses, you do your routing and stuff, and then decide whether it's like public facing or like private or whatnot. So I love Fireship. You could name you saw a video on Fireship about name your tech stack based on what you use. Can you actually do that? I think yeah, tech stack means what you're using. I think that's what a tech stack means. Yeah. So absolutely. Penetration tester. Oh, we talked about this. Are you in the Discord server? We have a Discord server. Sometimes people post stuff about problems they're facing, and then there are people there to help them. So it would be beneficial for you if you want to. I might end the stream in a couple minutes, like let's say 10, 15 minutes more. Grab dinner. No, it is not too early to start a YouTube channel. It is not too early. Go for it. Like, I would be your first subscriber. Start your channel and just like DM it to me on Discord, and I'm gonna subscribe and just let the guys know on Discord or whatever. Like, if you don't want that much attention too, that's fine. But it's never too early to start a YouTube channel. There's always a way for you to add value. Uh, about YouTube channels, I follow this guy, Ali Abdal, and he talks about how to start a YouTube channel, like, you know, what and what to not think about. Like, don't think about quality, don't think about like high end gear. Just like record yourself doing something. You've already started the channel. Wait, are you replying from this channel? You're like texting the channel from the channel you have right now? If so, then I am absolutely going to subscribe to it. Java Mastery. Oh, that's you. Is that you? Looks like it. 13 subscribers. Okay, I'm gonna copy this to my um, own private tab. Yeah, I just subscribed to you, dude. And also, I don't know if you're a dude. What the hell? That is not great of me. I just subscribed to you. Oh yeah, 14 subscribers. Good luck. There is a um, growing diversity in tech now, especially like gender diversity. The college that I go to for grad school, I think it's like almost an even split. And oh yeah, it was gonna be super hard for me to be wrong looking at the statistically it would be hard for me to be wrong about whether or not there was a actually growing number of gender diversity uh, in tech. 48% women make up more than 48% of first year undergraduates this fall in School of Computer Science. It's awesome. And that was like 2016. I'm even wondering, it was like there's not even more women than men in undergraduate computer science now. You know, it's amazing. 634. We covered a whole lot of the usual questions that I get from people, like what programming languages to learn, like how to learn how to code, like should I go to college, can you be my mentor, things like that. And we've covered a whole lot. There were quite a few topics I was hoping people would be interested in, because I'm now switching away from I'm not switching, but I'm like considering entrepreneurship and like starting startups. I was hoping some people would have some questions about that, some of the startups that I've been working on. We didn't quite get to that, but that's fine. I might be doing these streams every couple of months, so stay tuned. I started the startup called Rate My NFT initially this year. I'm no longer working on the project, but it was basically like an NFT review platform. And we interviewed with Y Combinator, which is a super competitive startup accelerator in the Bay Area. After this one, I've started a few other startups as well, one or two, and maybe like a startup is just a side project that you call a company and you put a lot more effort into, and you put full time work into. And so now that I have some time, and that's one of the reasons why I came to CMU to give me some time to reevaluate my life and see like, do I want to be a software engineer for 50 years, or do I want to like transition to like an engineering founder, or like someone who would be owning a specific part of a project, and hopefully I could like work on more startup ideas. I have a few in the works. Might make a video or two about them. But once they're not like set in stone right now, but once they become stable enough for me to talk about them, then I will talk about them. But that's it. Well, I want to talk about grad school as well. Well, this video really put together my thoughts about grad school. I made a video about like my first semester. A lot has changed since then. I'm a lot more interested in some of the classes that I take now. I'm taking a few entrepreneurship classes as well as some technical classes. Last semester, not so great. I was taking a lot of like redundant classes that I knew things about, not really paying attention to them. Oh, sheriff's grad school. What else? Bum. Faang. Am I going back to Faang? Probably. If the startups don't work, it's a no-brainer. If the startups don't work, it's like that's the um next thing naturally on the priority, the list of priority of like things to pursue. And startups, they just give you some like autonomy and drive to wake up. And I don't know how often people burn out on startups, but if you're working on a startup that you're super passionate about, you know, when you're working at a large company, it's hard to find your specific interests. Like, so much to do, so many things. And like companies like Google, they have like an 8 week team matching process. Like, imagine having to wait 8 weeks just like match yourself with a team. It's like it's mostly a thing of like what's available versus what you really want to do. For instance, if you want to work on Google search and then you apply to Google, it's like almost impossible to get on the search team. So things like that. But you might work on something very similar, something they have a whole lot of projects. But with a startup, you get to define your scope of like what you think is is good, and what you think you're passionate about, what you think you want to keep working on for like 10 years, and just like have the drive. And plus, if you have some funding, or you're raising some money, or you have some revenue just to keep you going, and it gives you uh, potentially a lot more like happiness and fulfillment. Although you typically tend to work longer when you work in a startup, but you work longer with a lot of fulfillment, a lot of like happiness, and that as well. With Faang, you definitely work shorter hours. It's not really that difficult. The Faang jobs, if you're a top performer, you're doing really good. A lot of the things are like simple CRUD tasks. You're just like moving data around. You're like creating, updating, deleting data on like different services, building microservices. Building infrastructure. So you're either, if you're a software engineer, like you're either like an infrastructure engineer, or like you're like a product engineer. If you're a product engineer, You might be working with like product front end, or like you're working on some middleware. If you're an infrastructure engineer, you're mostly working with like, auto scaling infrastructures. You're working with like, authentication. You're working with like more data heavy tasks, more like back end tasks, and those are not super hard. And so you typically have like a couple weeks for sprints. So as opposed to say working on a startup where it's like super fast paced, like at a big tech company, it's like a much slower pace. So you get to not coast around, but you get to relax and be more stable and make a lot of high quality decisions, best practice decisions, and things like that. Your IQ score? I don't know. I don't know. Is that even like an accurate measure of intelligence these days? The most accurate IQ test. 20 minutes. I have like 15 minutes on this stream. I don't know. Don't understand. There's like logic puzzles. Gets the middle, gets the end. The middle gets to end, and then from there. So it's like IQ is just like your recognition of patterns, I would think. So it's the same pattern for here, but it's just something at the bottom. So something like this. And it's pattern recognition, I guess. Two squares on the side, one square in the middle, two squares on the side, on the opposite sides. And it should be something like this. Something like something that goes diagonally. There's that, and that goes diagonally, that goes that. Something that goes diagonally, like something like that. mm, this is not like a accurate representation. I feel like an IQ test would be like asking mathematical questions is like logic puzzles. And it starts with a small dot and an open one. So there's like three things that could happen here. You could either have a dot that's small, or you can have an empty one, like a full dot or a small dot. So you have empty one, you have full dot. It has to be a small dot. Yeah. Um. Yeah. This is just pattern stuff. Um, BMI. Your startup rate my NFT inspired me to start one. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, what are you working on? Rate my NFT was a nice project. It was fun while it lasted. It's pretty stable now, so let me know if you want to contribute on it or whatever. Let me know what startup you're working on as well. I might spend a couple minutes looking at your channel later. But thank you so much for coming along. One more minute, and I'm gonna end the stream. I had fun doing this. I had fun coming along, chatting subscribers, people who like the channel, and I'm really happy with the kind of audience that I'm building. I see that the audience is like people who are interested in tech or people who are already in a tech, so it's an audience that I can provide value to. And so I think like some of the videos that I'm doing is really helpful. And I'm gonna try to spin up more videos in the coming weeks and months, seeing how things go. But I'm always online, and my socials are on the channel, so follow me there. Working on a social media app with a twist, and it's specifically for voters in my country. Nice, nice. I like the last part, specifically for voters in my country. Like, the best startup ideas have a problem that they're solving that the founder faces, or the founder is like privy to, or the founder is like, it's a native founder problem. So it's great that you see a problem in your community that you're solving. It's sweet. Nice, nice, nice. You're on the right track. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This was amazing. Thanks for supporting the channel. 25K. We're at 27K now. Let's get to 30K. Let's see how it goes. If we get to 30K, I might do something like this again. I don't know. If we get to 50K, I might do something like this. I don't know. But a whole lot is coming on in the channel. Many things are changing. I will let you know. Follow me on socials if you want to keep track of like what I'm doing in my day-to-day life, so you don't have to wait for months for these kinds of updates. And thank you to Java Mastery. Thank you to Java Mastery for like all the amazing questions. I see someone that I know personally, so I gotta reply to them in my second year studying CS. I said too, congratulations. Congratulations. I thought you were doing more like liberal arts, communications, or journalism. Congrats on your second year studying CS. Let me know how I could help if you have any questions about CS. But yeah, thanks for stopping along. You come, you see, you come like only when I get like 5 more minutes, less than a minute actually, if I make this stream end. No, no, that's you come on the stream. Guys, I'm talking in Creole. It's a language from Sierra Leone. But thanks a whole lot. I will connect with you. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.